Traveling across central Ventura County, the United Water Conservation District is leading the charge to provide water to a region with roots that looked a lot different than what you see today.
To start off, I'm going to go back about a little over 150 years or so, and it's kind of the end of the rancho era. The ranchos really were divided up into very large parcels way back then, and they weren't always well described of the actual property that they owned. And, so let me give you an example right here. Is this corner right here was described as you go through the river and you go to a large oak tree, and that's great. They wrote it though 100 years before that. Is that large oak tree or a different large oak tree? And so they weren't well defined.
Today, relationships have been well defined as a district invested in collaborative efforts and partnerships extending across the state. Another stark contrast to the early years. Take a listen to this story about a farmer, Thomas Moore, and a man simply known as Sprague.
Thomas Moore actually found he was on the losing end of a fight over river diversion. And he was actually the purchaser of the Rancho Sespe, which was right here. He thought originally he bought what was 6 leagues of land, which I think comes out to over 40,000 acres of land. It's an incredible land tract that was all the way from Santa Paula Creek all the way to Piru Creek, and it was pretty much that entire valley right there. It turned out that somewhere else in the land deed it said 2 leagues, and he fought that with the courts for a long period of time. Finally, the court said, no, you only got 2 leagues. And as a result, squatters started coming in and started filling in the land and started living in the land that he said was originally his. And of course, he still kept fighting with them. And he was fighting with a man named Sprague when he was building his river diversion and kind of cutting off Sprague in this area right up in here. And it turned out that about a week later, Sprague comes out with a group of men. They burn up his barn, and he comes running out, and they shoot him dead right there.
Alive with growth and opportunity, the present-day Santa Clara River Valley and Oxnard Coastal Plain is a reflection of its populous past, all relying on water to be sustainable.
And farmers here, the new set of farmers needed water. They were growing barley, they were growing, their hogs, their chickens, corn, everything. It began the first era of water development in this area, which are the river diversions.
It all started around 1912 with development by the river relying on water diversion. They accomplished this by funneling from the tributaries or taking from the rising groundwater in the area and delivering that resource to other areas. The primitive system was working aside from water quality issues. Farmers complained the water, which passed through a hog field, smelled and was dirty. Perhaps making for good irrigation supply, but as a drinking source, that water fell short. They were also learning about the Oxnard Plain, now known as the pressure zone. It's a one-of-a-kind area with artesian wells. Early settlers were finding as you dig below, good fresh water shoots up through the wells.
Here's an example right here where they talk about in Wainimi that at a depth of 143 feet, it produced 695 gallons per minute from a 7-inch diameter well. This is no pumps, it's just they dug down and all of a sudden you get an incredible amount of water just coming out of the ground.
Amazing was also the evolving dynamics of water movements above ground. With the construction of the LA Aqueduct and diversion dams, power companies learned H2O was a cash crop. However, growth of Southern California outpaced expectations, and a few rounds of dry years made folks say,
enough is enough, we need to do something. And it was Charles Teague who actually was the one who called the people together and said, we need to form an association, a group, to start protecting these waters. Basically, what they said is, first of all, we need to investigate how much water do we have here and show the people that we need this water.
About 150 farmers who formed this group hired someone to do an assessment report on the land.
In just a few months, he came back with it, and he said basically that any deliveries of water to the region outside of the drainage basin of the river or beyond their area underlying the gravels fed to the river would be detrimental. And that was the information we needed to be able to go to the State Water Resource Control Board and show them, hey, we need this water. And these people are just coming up with, whatever they want to start hauling the water away.
Our fight for water was now underway. By 1927, the Santa Clara Water Conservation District was formed with the mission to protect water rights against encroachment.
While on the valley floor, fertile farmlands give way to the builder as more and more people find their homes in this pleasant valley of the Santa Clara.
California went through a growth spurt along with the Oxnard irrigated acres, from 10,000 in 1910 to 74,000 by 1948 and growing. That meant it was time for another assessment of our area and the demands being made on our natural resource.
We had water levels going down to well below sea level. With this extra pressure of another 30,000 acre feet of being extracted, we can't have that. We can't lose that water. In fact, we need to do something now. And so his recommend was develop and file for water rights on the Sespe and Piru. We did that. We filed for those water rights. And now there was 2 different water rights in there. So eventually the county pulled their water rights and the Cayugas came in and said, okay, we also are filing for Piru and Fillmore water rights. And this is basically where the real fighting starts.
In 1949, the city of Oxnard supported a plan to form a water conservation district, allowing the original group to become a new organization able to raise bonds, funding, and build dams.
We've been fighting over this water forever, and it's like to remember we're fighting, to be able to maintain this so that we can turn faucets on here, so that ag out there can grow its strawberries and everything else. And we continue to do that. It's in a different form now. Nobody's trying to ship water over to Thousand Oaks anymore, or it's part of the fight we have continued to do today.
This is the valley of the Santa Clara. It lies between the inland desert and the coastal plain in Southern California.
United Water Conservation District was formed in 1950. Plans were made for dams along the tributaries of the Santa Clara River, where floodwaters could be held back and then later released to replenish the underground storage and to supply still more water through pipes across the valley. The original plans envisioned completed development of available resources with at least 1 storage reservoir on Piru Creek and perhaps 2 on Sespe Creek. In the fall of 1953, a bond issue for nearly $11 million was approved, marking the first step of the ultimate plan.
Santa Felicia is a step in this direction. But with California's growing need for water for its expanding population, more must be found, perhaps brought in from far away, or perhaps within the valley itself. Here in Sespe Canyon, a tributary of the Santa Clara, is the Topa Topa Dam site. Sites for other dams have been found at Blue Point and at Cold Springs. Each in its time must be developed, and when these things are done, there still will be the need for water from the great rivers of the north to match the surging growth of Southern California and of our valley of the Santa Clara.
But that wasn't the end. By the 1990s, the area's continued expansion increased the need to recharge local basins. So once again, the community came together to construct the Vern Freeman Diversion. In conjunction with a Satakoy recharge facility, this effort also helped to reduce the expansion of seawater intrusion along the Oxnard coast. The Noble Basin property was added to the basin recharge effort, eventually becoming a significant contributor to the area's groundwater replenishment, seeing the potential for further recharge. Providing water in Ventura County used to mean ensuring an adequate supply for a booming agricultural industry. Today, water service has expanded beyond agriculture to serve more than 370,000 people. That's around 200,000 families. The area's water reliability has grown with its population and its industries through a spirit of collaboration and commitment to success that now promises our region the water supply it needs today, tomorrow, and beyond.